Hello, Dr. Coker here, and this is a guide to the Aetherfont. I think this dungeon beats even Snowcloak for the title of Dungeon with the Sleepiest Music, but anyway, please like and subscribe. I'm releasing guides for every story dungeon and trial in the game, so you always know what's coming. Let's get started. The first boss is Lyngbakr. He'll usually open with Upsweep, which deals moderate unavoidable damage to all players, just heal through it. When you see him casting Tidal Breath, run behind him fast, because the whole arena in front of him will be blasted with damage. Body Slam will deal moderate unavoidable damage to all players, then it will spawn several ice shards on the floor. This is always followed by Upsweep, and during this time you should find a place with no ice shards around, and stand there for a moment. Upsweep will hit everyone with moderate damage, then the ice shards will begin to resonate. If you are in a good spot with none too close to you, you'll be safe when they explode a few seconds later. Shortly after, he will do the same cycle, but you'll notice that the ice shards are now much larger. Again, you need to find a place where there are none, but this time, the explosions will also be much larger, so you're really looking for a big gap, and there should only be one safe place near the edge. This may be followed by Water Spout and Tidal Spout, which have no cast bars, but it's just a set of spread apart markers, followed by a stack marker. The third time you see his Body Slam combo, you will notice both small and large ice shards on the floor. The small ones will always explode first, so stand somewhere where there's a gap in small ones, even if it's right next to a large one. Once the small ones explode, move to the one safe gap for the large ones. Sonic Bloop is a simple tank buster. Just use mitigation and healing as needed. The second boss is Arkas. A few seconds in, he'll cast Battle Cry, which deals moderate unavoidable damage to all players. Just heal through it. With Lightning Leap, you'll see a large orange circle to avoid, then he'll pounce there. Just as he lands, purple cracks will spread out on the floor. You need to avoid them, but note that when they explode, the AoE is slightly larger than the cracks are, so keep a good distance from them. This may overlap with the second Lightning Leap, but just know that the cracks will always go off before the next pounce, so stay in the circle marker if you have to for a moment, then get out quickly after the explosion. Ripper Claw is a simple tank buster, just use mitigation and healing as needed. Spinning Claw is similar to Lightning Leap. You will see an orange circle to avoid, then after the strike, purple cracks will grow outwards again. This is the same as before, except they are larger, so keep your distance from them. Late in the fight, he will do another Battle Cry, but this one shrinks the size of the arena quite a bit. Then he will begin Lightning Rampage, which is just a series of several lightning leaps back to back. Now the purple cracks and the orange circles will be hit with damage at nearly the same time, so you just have to find the safe gaps in between. There is always somewhere safe to stand in this phase. With Lightning Claw, you will see a typical stack marker, so stack to defuse the damage. But when it hits, it leaves more purple cracks behind. Just get out of them as they will explode for heavy damage. With Electric Eruption, he'll place purple cracks on the floor in circular patterns. Just avoid them to avoid the damage. The third boss is Octomammoth, yet another boss from Final Fantasy IV. His 8 tentacles will show up as adds, but they are never targetable during the fight. He'll open with Tidal Roar, which deals moderate unavoidable damage to all players. Just heal through it. With Octostroke, the tentacles will submerge and then re-emerge in new positions. After a few seconds, all 8 of them will sweep the floor in front of them, so you need to stand in a place where there are none too close by. The tentacles will often alternate casting Wallop as well, which just does line AoE damage in front of them. Just step out of the markers. Vivid Eyes will display a large, thin ring AoE marker across the floor. Avoid that as well. It's almost always simultaneous with other effects. With Saline Spit, you will see these unusual blue markers on every platform. Just stand between platforms on the light blue rocks, because after a few seconds, all platforms will be blasted with damage. For Tidal Breath, watch which way the boss is facing and run behind him, because after a few seconds, everything in front of him will be blasted. Telekinesis is one where the boss tethers to 3 large crystals in the background, Then each crystal beams down to the floor. Get far away from the crystal beams, as the crystals will then strike the floor for massive damage. Breathstroke is a tough one which combines Octostroke with Tidal Breath. This means the boss will turn his head and you will need to move behind the direction he's facing, while at the same time stand in a spot where there are no tentacles. Notice the tentacles sweep about 2/3 of the platform in front of them, so you want to find a platform that only has a tentacle on one side so you can stand on the opposite side. Finally, Water Drop is one that puts spread apart markers on all players and is usually accompanied by other AoE effects. Just spread apart and avoid other markers. And that's it for the Aetherfont. Good luck and see you next time.